Josh, tell me about this exciting, exhilarating championship weekend up in New Jersey, correct?
Mark, the Queen City Crowns of Charlotte, North Carolina are Tier 3 Mylec Cup champions. I'm so proud to be able to announce that and to have been a part of this team and experience, and so honored to be the captain of this team. We are national champions.
It's really amazing, Josh. So tell me, it just started, you just put this together in January, correct?
Yes, that was officially when we submitted the roster. Now there's a bit of history. The league is a couple years old, had some, and when I say the league, the National Ball Hockey League
Hmm.
started a couple years ago. Um, and had some hiccups through COVID and dealing with that. Our previous CEO of Charlotte Street Hockey League, Lou Harberton, actually had some communication back and forth with potentially getting a team set up. But I was reached out to about this time last year, actually, it's probably September, October. Hey, do you guys think you can put a team into a Carolina division? And I said, I don't know, I'll get back to you. And, there's certain dates and deadlines that we had to hit. We had to have our roster submitted officially by January, which meant, we had like a month to maybe just invite people and get the message out that we were doing this. And we held tryouts in December for people to come out who wanted to be a part of this. And slowly but surely, we put the team together. And I remember we had a meeting very early on with the roster that we were going to go with. We got, almost 20 guys, 20 plus guys on a Zoom call. And we said, what do we want this to be? How serious do we want to be about this experience here? And everybody was in to go all out and try to win and be the best team possible. And it seemed like so long ago, and here we are, just 9 months later talking about this.
How many different tournaments now have the Crowns participated in the?
So we had a season in the Carolina division, which included 2 teams from Raleigh and a team from just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So there's 4 teams in the Carolina division. And because we're so spread out and had to travel, whereas other divisions in NBHL would play every weekend, we played once a month. And when we met up once a month, we played every team once. So a bit of a tournament style for our league play.
Yeah.
But each team ended up playing each other 3 times. So 9 total games over, we did it once a month. So it was April. I want to say it was June and then July.
Okay.
And when we wrapped up, we had a playoff around the first week of August.
Yeah, that's right.
That finished. So we Crowns ended up winning that division, the Carolina division, which punched our ticket to the Mylec Cup in September here.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So tell me, how does this differ for people that are new to the CSHL and the NBHL and tournament play and league play? How does this differ from your CSHL league play that's currently going on right now in the fall league?
Yeah, so the Mylec Cup is a conglomeration of league champions from around the country. So think of what we have in Charlotte Street Hockey, CSHL, it's basically our home base, our home court, our home league. Well, we played against the winners of each of the other home leagues. So, and you can multiply that relative to how big other leagues are. You think of a city like Philadelphia or, in Massachusetts or Buffalo, there are multiple teams, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, a couple of different league types in these different leagues, and different teams in these different leagues. And they play every week, and they have been for many years. I guess also a point of emphasis or point of reference, there's different tiers. So for teams that have been playing for years and years and years, there's tier 1 is the top, tier 2 and tier 3 was introduced this year as NBHL tries to expand. So anyways, long-winded way to answer your question, but think of all these different pockets of these different leagues around the country organizing into different divisions and then crowning a champion at the end of each regular season and then inviting them all to play at the Mylec Cup.
Now, is the Mylec Cup just once a year?
Yep. So national tournament at the end of the season. So the season runs approximately from end of March, early April to the end of August. And then as soon as all the division winners are established, then you get that invitation to the Mylec Cup, which happens, I believe it's every September, at the end of every September.
That's great.
Yeah.
So like you said, you were the first ever in Tier 3.
Yep. So they had the Mylec Cup was last year. They just didn't have it divided into different tiers. But as they expand the league and increase their outreach to different regions of the country, they wanted to be able to match skill level or experience level with these different teams. So altogether, there's more teams in Tier 1, Tier 2 than Tier 3, but Tier 3 is going to grow definitely.
Now, tell me about the selection process to put this team together, because obviously you're playing pickup games, you're playing league play in the CSHL. You have different guys in different backgrounds and different skill levels. How difficult was it to put a roster together like this to compete with teams that have been playing for a decade or longer?
Yeah. So shout out to Frank Glazzi and eventually Jeff Kennedy, who Frank and I got involved. But Frank had some experience. He's from the Philadelphia area, and I believe played in Tier 2 and was familiar with the courts that we actually played on at the Mylec Cup. But he and I had a lot of meetings and connections with how we're going to pull this off and who we're going to invite and how we would make a team. So we realized we needed another voice, another perspective, and that's when we brought in Jeff Kennedy, who's a little bit older. I'll just pause for dramatic, older Jeff Kennedy, if you're listening to this. But just offers some great perspective and some additional insight and that leadership with just his experience, his life experience, his hockey experience, etc. But yeah, so we all three got together, said, how are we going to do this? We wanted to do it right and give the largest number of people access if they really wanted to be on the team, give them a chance, give them an opportunity. So we held a quote unquote tryout on consecutive weekends last December, and had some decisions to make. We ended up telling maybe a couple people who were definitely good enough to be on the team that we just didn't have a spot for them. This is a group of Charlotte All-Stars, ironically and funny enough, that all had just played against each other for all these years. Sometimes in some instances, it was some of these players' first time being on the same team as each other. So
Yeah.
just think about that. We're just used to playing against each other in our adult league, and got to experience and be on the same team, and it really united not only the group but just the program in general. So there's definitely some very positive ripple effects that happen from just this whole experience here.
So it almost seems kind of like a World Cup of sorts. You have your local teams or that you play in your divisions, and then you meet in this Mylec Cup with many other teams from other cities and states for the championship. So tell me about this weekend. This weekend, a very lengthy weekend, a long drive. Tell me about that. Yeah,
so once we won the Carolina division, which I mentioned was right at the beginning of August, the logistics questions started coming. How are we going to do this? What do we want to make of this experience? Do we all want to be on the same page and go up together? So it was quite a bit of a discussion. We called everybody together on another Zoom call, and basically ended up deciding that the price to rent a charter bus was almost exactly in line with how much it would cost to buy a plane ticket. So we wanted to have as many people's buy-in as possible to make it, offset the cost and make it realistic for people to travel. So it just wasn't possible for some people. Some people, had work commitments and ended up flying up there. But we ended up with about 15 players out of our roughly 22 man roster that was on the bus, committed to the bus, and we had some additional some girlfriends and some other people joined as well. Shout out to Imran Faruqi, who joined us as well, one of the godfathers of CSHL, who made the trip with us. Yeah, it was great to have him. But yeah, so that was a discussion that we had. We committed to it, and looking back on it, I mean, one of the best decisions that we made. Just that anticipation going up, enjoying each other's company, and just another example of the unity of this team and the growth of the team, and then just the celebration on the way back. That made it all worth it as well. So getting there late Friday night with games early Saturday morning, correct? Yep. I mean, we got pretty lucky. Our first game wasn't until 11 a.m. So we had time. It was about a 10, 11 hour drive. We left early in the morning, got there at a decent hour. I think it was around 8 o'clock at night. Got a bite to eat with the team, had a few drinks, some of us, and then got some sleep. But yeah, then we had 3 games. Saturday was the whole round robin portion of the tournament.
Yep.
And we had 3 games to establish the seedings for the elimination round, which is on Sunday.
And you won 2 of those games.
Yep.
The
Yep.
only loss was to the team that you would eventually beat. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first game, Bay Area Burger Boys. So they won their California division. Now the second game was against the Las Vegas Shiners, and they're actually in California's division, and they got the invitation because the Seattle Cold Snacks of the Pacific Northwest could not attend. They could not make it. They could not logistically travel. So we ended up playing 2 teams from the same division and showed up very well. A testament to our experience in the Carolina division. So physical in our league throughout the year, from April to July and August, in the playoffs especially. Just you'd almost think it was full check hockey out there with some of the bodying that was going on. So that really prepared us for the tournament. I think we really took the physical play to the other teams, and we were probably more prepared to do that. And it really showed up in those first 2 games. And then, there's some different elements. Not going to make any excuses, but we played at night for the first time. It's also outdoor rinks, whereas we played indoor. So different tile, different elements, different experience. It was raining. So there's a lot of things that we were up against that we hadn't experienced before. And that Pottstown team was just solid. They were maybe one of the deepest teams we've faced as far as talent was concerned. But yeah, a couple errors, a couple silly things. It could have gone in different directions, but we ended up losing 4-1. And hats off to them. They played a really good game, and exposed some of our things that we needed to shore up, which we ended up doing on Sunday. But yeah, so that first Saturday, went 2-1. So beat the Burger Boys, the Shiners, and then took a tough one to the Mud Dogs.
And then you get into your elimination round.
Yep. So finished the number 2 seed. So Pottstown got that number 1 seed. And we drew the Burger Boys on day 2. So, especially in that environment, so difficult to beat a team twice in such a short amount of time. They played us really, really tough. They played a great game. It was a 1-0 game for the longest time, then 1-1, and actually went to overtime. And shout out to Brandon Fritz, who just scored a monumental goal. And luckily it wasn't too far into the overtime, because the way it's set up, it just runs and runs and runs until there's a winner. But it just absolutely buried one that came out to the slot to him, and he made no mistake about it. But yeah, a tough game. Not that we thought we were going to roll, but we really felt we were the better team, and it could have gone either way, especially when it goes into overtime like that. So such a good feeling, validation to get that victory and head to the championship game.
Oh, wow. So this was the semifinal game, correct?
Yep, semifinals. So there ended up being 5 teams. There were 6 that were invited, I believe. So there's a 6 that actually got reassigned to another tier for this portion of the tournament. So 4 or 5 was actually a play-in game, and then ended up playing the 1 seed. And then we were two against 3, and so the winner of our game went to that national title game.
You had beaten the Burger Boys in the round robin.
Correct. We beat them 4-1, and just so hard to beat a team twice. They really played us tough that second game, especially.
But now going into the championship game, you're facing a team that, coming into this game now, had outscored its competition 23-3, including 3 over you guys. What are you guys thinking at that point in time?
Yeah, well, luckily I wasn't aware of that, but we knew they were a strong team. I think they had lost just 1 game all season in their division, their regular league. We knew what we had to do. We made a few adjustments. We put James Forbes back on defense. We actually did that in the Burger Boys second game as well, just to add a different element, different look, and have some offensive production from back there. And that really made a difference. We made a couple changes to the forward lines, and so heading into that Pottstown game, it's winner take all, right? So we knew we were good enough. We knew we could beat them. It was just about doing it, and it was a grind. It was a fun game. It was competitive. It was equal parts of everything. We also had a rain delay, or a lightning delay, that lasted about half hour, 45 minutes. So we were, a little point in the evening there, we weren't sure when we were going to start, if we were going to play, if we had to push it off. So just that mindset and that preparation for being ready for anything. And we got that call, hey, we're starting at this time, and let's do it. So we rolled.
But what made you, what was the difference though in this game? Because I mean, they had so many goals, or like I said, over 23 goals coming into this game to hold them to one. I mean, it's playoff style, certainly, but to hold that team to one goal, and I think they also had 4 wins in this tournament as well. Um, it just seems like a huge task. I mean, you talked about putting different people in different positions. What was the key factor? I mean, I know they got up early in that game, correct? They scored first.
Yeah, pretty quickly into the first period, it was 1-0. And yeah, shout out to Cale Bowman, shut the door after that. So first and foremost, he's number one as far as a difference maker, and we experienced that all league in Carolina division as well. But just played outstanding. I mean, unbelievable saves and just consistent, like he had been all season. But it really showed up for us. After the goal he gave up was kind of tough. It was a rebound goal, and he made the initial save, and the guy just whacked it by him on the rebound. But the difference, I don't know. I think about definitely moving Forbes back to D made a difference, but also you look around at some of the rosters and the benches, we were by far the deepest team. We were rolling 4 full lines of 3 forwards, and then at times 3 full lines of 6D back there. So I think game 5 over a 24-hour period makes a difference. It's not that we weren't tired; everybody was still exhausted. But just to bring 4, we joke we had 4 first lines. Any one of those lines could be a first line anywhere, and just coming at you, just hustling. Eric Levine is probably the heart and soul of the embodiment of that hustle. You got him coming at you, every shift, a version of him on different lines, every shift just coming at you. It's a lot to handle. And,
Yes.
We were kind of on our toes or on our heels, I'm sorry, for that first period, but we really took the play to him second and third period. And the bounces started to fall our way.
Did you feel like you said you felt like you could have beaten that team even though you lost to them the first time around?
Yeah, there was no doubt that we knew that we were good enough, and we actually believed that we were better, to be honest with you. Like I said, our D was strong. I mean, just look up and down the lineup for the type of talent that we had, and it was going to be extremely difficult to beat us. So that's why we tipped our cap, that in the night game that they beat us. But we had no doubts that we could take it to them in that championship game.
That's great. You talked about your depth and your roster and rolling different lines, and that what you seemed to think that was a factor because people were fresh.
Oh yeah.
What was it like on some of these other teams then, in terms of their player depth?
Yeah, I saw some teams rolling just 2 lines of forwards.
Wow.
So just 6 forwards. They might have had a floater going both ways that could have played D or forward, but it's probably most common to have 3 full lines of forwards. That was probably most common in the tournament. But some teams had less than that, and I think that makes a difference. I think that shows.
Well, now obviously going into this coming season and next season, it's going to be difficult to, you've got something to look forward to. The other teams that are going to be trying to beat you, and how do you manage that going into next season?
I know this does not sit well with the teams in our division. They're going to be gunning for us, and to that I say, let's do it. That's the fun part of this. A tip of the cap for them for making us better. They made us better and well prepared to come into that cup. And we mentioned to each other, as the Crowns, that if those 2 Raleigh teams were in the Mylec Cup, we'd probably be 3 of the top teams there. Any one of those teams could have showed out as well as we did there. So. But yeah, definitely going to be gunning for us. Maybe just a quick point about what this means for Charlotte here. This is, I'm so excited. That's what I'm happiest about, is what this means for ball hockey and just hockey in general, and Charlotte, to put Charlotte in a team like we have that plays our home games on a tennis court on a national stage, and to be able to bring home a championship is so sweet, and it's going to bring the right attention and the right partnerships and the right everything to this area to fulfill the vision that we have to grow this game here. Not to mention, yes, to your point, there's going to be some more people that come out that want to be a part of this and want to play. So we'll have our work cut out for what we're going to do with the roster. There's some seeds being planted, asking Charlotte to maybe make a second team. So that throws in a whole nother wrench into that division. So we got to figure out what we want to do there. But there's definitely some things we'll have to figure out that will be different about this upcoming season. But all good things, and all stemming from this championship victory here that we're so proud of.
It's terrific. Now going into next season, getting through this season, going into 2023, what are some of the things that you feel this team needs to work on? Still needs to work on collectively.
Well, yeah, I can share with you. We had a very minimal number of practices where, we're all adults, have lives. Lots of us have wives and kids and families, and very difficult to get people available on the same weekends for just the game weekends, not to mention additional practices on a weeknight or a different weekend. So, we really gelled together as a team throughout the season, but maybe special teams, for example. I don't think we had a legitimate power play. We tried to put some lines together, but we never really had a strategy with how to move the ball around, or what to do, or what to capitalize on. So some of those things, just being a little bit more direct about some of the strategic aspects of the game. It wasn't until our last practice that we broke down a little bit of film and showed people some strategies on what we could do better. So, it's all iterations of our play so far, and the experience that we just had is going to be our biggest asset, playing at that level against those teams, and getting that gameplay experience. There's no substitute for that. So we're going to use that and take that into next season as well.
That's terrific. So the fall league in the CSHL will end in early November?
Yeah, before Thanksgiving. Yes.
Okay. So what are the plans for having the Crowns gain a little bit more? Are we getting into winter leagues now, and before it will be in the spring, and other tournaments here and all that? How is that going to factor in getting this team prepared for the next season?
Yeah, so we're very grateful that so many people registered for this fall league season. This is kind of happening at the same time as our Carolina League division. We had 70 people sign up for Adult League for the first time, and we were able to create two separate divisions. Mark, if you go back, I want to say 2 years, our league games for CSHL were played in T-shirts with, hey, bring a light in the dark, and we'll let you know what to play with. Like, that's incredible. Yeah. We only started getting T-shirt jerseys maybe just a year ago, and now here we sit with, we had 70 people register, 4 teams in our A division and 4 teams in B division. So yeah, that growth it's already there. It was there without the Crowns. And so we're going to have some different challenges now with the growth and where we're going to play, and game times and referees and all that stuff. So I look forward to those problems. So yeah, that winter league will probably start sometime in January. And then, just comparing that to the Crowns schedule, we'll enjoy this victory for the next few weeks, but then we're going to have some meetings coming up with the other captains of the Carolina division to talk about what we're going to do for that league next year. And then as things start to get finalized, the next big mile marker will be that January roster submission. We're probably looking at December again for some tryouts and figuring out what we want to do with rosters. But that can only come after establishing exactly what next year is going to look like in our division, and then how we're going to move forward.
That's great. Tell me, last question. What is this victory in this tournament with this team and everybody that's seen this, that comes to see a play at the tennis court in Huntersville, the kids, the youth, what does this do for them?
Yeah, it's something to strive for. Like, this is a community of people who A, love hockey, and B, it's just a quality group. It's a testament to the people who are working to make this what it is. And this is the vision, Mark. This has been the vision for a while. We have basically a feeder system to this grand team of the Queen City Crowns. Like, members of the adult league are going to want to be a part of that team. And then, not to mention, the kids, as they grow up, are going to feed into adult league and feed into the Crowns. So this is I'd say some of these other teams that have been playing for decades, they don't even have this. Some places don't have youth leagues or youth programs. So we're setting up for the long-term big picture, and it's with the right intentions in mind, and it's with the right heart as well. We're doing this because we love the game. I love the game of hockey. That's why I became a volunteer for CSHL, and that's why I have the board position that I do. I want to give back. I want to be able to grow and tap into the potential that I know that this area is capable of. And it's so underutilized right now, and there's no places to play. We're going to use this championship to really build out our facilities and our access to the game, because I know what this game has done for me, and I want to give that back to other people, adults and kids. And we're going to do that here. We're going to focus on that.
Thank you so much for being with me today, Josh. I wish you the very best in the days ahead and the weeks ahead and the seasons ahead. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mark. We're going to cherish this one. Appreciate you.
You're welcome.